to the RunnerX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running.
Welcome to the RunnerX podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm talking to Coach Valerie. Hey, Coach, we just had our virtual clinic, and you were talking earlier about some things that you saw. Give us a response of how did it go with this virtual clinic, and what did you see as kind of over and over again dealing with runners in this most recent one?
Sure. Well, here's the highlight of the clinic that we see every clinic, and this hopefully gets people excited to want to do the clinic. Everyone that was communicating with us, which was pretty much everyone, could really feel the difference in their run just by adding a little bit of practice. And the best part was we had people who were like, I don't feel my plantar fasciitis anymore. One lady was like, oh my gosh, my knees don't hurt. This is amazing. And so everyone was like, I got a little taste that I could actually run pain-free, which is our goal for you guys. And then the very next question was, what shoes should I get? And, and which is right. And what's interesting is, and then people started telling us, and this is what I love about our community is that, everyone, we all have to ask, who can we ask questions to? Right. So people were like, we had people say, I wear orthotics. I was told I have to wear these certain shoes. I was told never to run with minimalist. So we heard all of these different, concepts kind of for people, and all of it was so limiting. Don't ever run in these shoes. You have to,
oh yeah,
right. And then it becomes well, what shoes should I wear? What shoes do you recommend? And so my number one answer, by the way, for always about shoes is number one, it's comfort. You've got to put that shoe on and feel like I actually want to wear this for a long period of time because I'm going to run in that. And then you have to kind of redefine comfort, right? Because we're kind of sold on what is comfortable. Is it comfortable really to feel like you're sinking? See what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so what we talk to people about is you want to feel stable in your shoe. You want to feel like you're still on your foot, like you're still in the foot. So just a kind of a side note is while we were doing the clinic and people kept talking to me about this, and just to keep in mind that I've been a coach for 30 years, but I've been teaching just specifically just running, and I'm going into year 24. And so I've been through all of the shoes. And so remember 4 years ago, the super shoe came out, and oh my gosh, how exciting. We saw records get broken. Every elite athlete was wearing them. It was the talk of the town. Well, now what I just saw an article and people were saying, okay, I've been wearing the super shoes and now I don't feel as super. I'm not running any faster. Now they just feel like my shoes. So this is, and then, the same article or same, I like everybody else, guys, I read what's out there. Everyone keeps talking about, we're pronating, we're supinating, these words that I keep hearing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then so I should get a shoe that corrects that. But on the other end, I should also just run with my own style.
Exactly.
There's no running. There's no way to run. It's a running, everyone has their own style. So instead of having a common running standard, you should just get a shoe that helps prevent this pronation or supination, even though really there's nothing. You see what I mean? I feel like that's so confusing.
It is. It's very confusing because you're you can run however you want, but you can't run however you want because you need the shoe to help you run the way you want.
Right. And what's interesting is, so what people generally look for, if you go get a gait analysis, for example, in a running shoe store, they're going to film you, probably do it in slow motion, and they'll show you what your foot's doing on the ground. And then they're like, see, you pronate, see, you supinate, see, you do this. So here's a shoe, so you don't do that. And I'm like, how does that really work? You see what I mean? So so the fun part though for us, okay. Now, by the way, this is really fun because this whole study came out and this is a shoe. This is, by the way, Runner's World totally put this out themselves. And
Yeah.
they said what they found is that the sports orthopedics and traumatology concluded that cushioning is not protective against running related injuries. Guys, I've seen this now for like almost 30 years. The shoe companies readily admit it. It's not, the shoe is really just to protect you from the elements on the ground, right? That's why you want to wear different shoes if you're on snow or gravel
glass.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is, it says that what's challenging is that they keep saying we can't find any relation really between the shoes and the injuries. However, why did they find that the carbon fiber plate helped people run faster? Didn't really reduce injuries, but helped them run a little faster. Well, the exciting part about that is it really helped people feel that they should be on the balls of their feet, because that's exactly where the carbon is. And so I'm always like, you could like have super feet in any shoe.
Right.
Like, we want that to be the excitement. However, it is really hard because, like, this morning, I love to look at running news. So I was looking at the running news, and this guy wrote, there's a picture of a big old shoe, and it said, "These new shoes make you run so fast you feel like they should be illegal." And I'm like, when does the runner get any credit? And to be honest, anyone that puts on a new pair of shoes, like that first exciting feeling, we all feel a little faster. We all feel a little springy. Does that feeling really last, though, the entire run, just because you have the new shoe on?
Right.
And
it doesn't.
You want to feel like when I put on my shoes, my feet are ready to feel like they're ready to run. And
is there something about like that newness of it, that the freshness of it, like new tires on a car, like you feel like it's driving better and stuff? But I mean, it doesn't take long for those new tires they suddenly feel like the old tires again.
Yeah.
You're just as
I
bad
always
of a
tell
driver.
people, you can't buy new feet. Now, I love new, but guys, I'm just like you guys. I love buying new shoes. Just because shoes, they wear out. And it's fun to buy new ones and the colors and all of that. But that's why you want to buy shoes. You want to buy shoes because you want to be out there continuing running. The running should feel good regardless of the shoe. And I say that because I used to do a lot of military clinics at the military. And those people had to wear like boots. So they didn't get to just pick their shoes. But we were like, that's okay. You can still run in the boot. And then when you get a chance and can run in real running shoes, perfect. But one of the things, guys, really is that we are all a little bit hung up on shoes, and that's so much of the conversation in running. And so that you have to kind of make your own conversation about the running itself, how the running feel.
Definitely. So at the end of that article, though, wasn't there something that they said that it was like, here they're talking all about how it helps you with the pronating, it helps you feel the cushion, but didn't it at the end say it doesn't replace technique? Didn't they like?
Well, the main thing is that it said that they cannot really find what they kept saying is we have a long way to go to fully understand the effect of running shoe design on both running performance and injury risk, because with adding the carbon fiber plate, which is different than adding the big heels that they added before. That was the earlier technology. Right. They have not seen, and there has been no reduction in the actual injury. Wow. So we're still seeing the same number of pronators, same number of supinators, despite having the shoes that are supposed to prevent that.
Bingo.
Yeah. So that's what we want you guys to know. And here's the best part is that when you actually learn to run and use the correct movement, those injuries go away because you're not doing that anymore. It's just such a different feel. But that's the thing is that go ahead.
I was going to ask you about like that whole, because when I came to you, of course, I had been a Bigfoot runner, right? I say Bigfoot, but it was like a really thick sole. And then while I was running my marathons, I'd gotten down to a thinner sole, but then I was coming back from my knee injury. I mistakenly, this is before Valerie, so BV. I mistakenly thought I needed more cushion. And it wasn't about pronating or supinating. For me, it was like, oh, I've put on weight, my knee hurts, I want to add more cushion. And as I started working with you and learning from you, I quickly realized that the pains that I was having, even though I was running, working on my technique, running more correctly, I, wasn't perfect. Still not perfect. It's a journey, but even with that, where my pain was coming from was literally from standing, because there was so much on the back of my heel. Without realizing, I was literally standing on my toes all the time. Because it was pushing my heel up, right?
Mhm.
And what I found out, as soon as I took those shoes off and started just going with flat, almost with nothing, socks, white. I was working out of the office still at that time, so I was going with a lot of flats. Nothing on my feet, as minimal as possible, ballet type flats. The pain went away. And so what I wanted to bring up is, what about those people that, I just spent $200 on these big thick shoes, these big Hokas? Can they still learn to run the way we teach, even in those shoes?
Sure.
Like, they don't have to go out and buy a whole new pair of shoes, but we would like them to, over time, start, when they buy the next pair, go a little bit less, and the next pair, go a little bit less, right? If I've got the Hokas right now, deal with the Hokas.
Right. Well, I mean, not even them, because all of the super shoes look like the same.
Yeah.
It's not even one brand.
Right.
The challenge, and it's exactly right. Just imagine if you've been wearing a high shoe for a long time, your Achilles is actually not ready yet for a minimalist shoe. And so what we see, though, with everybody that comes through our program, I never tell you to buy new shoes. I say, actually, stay with what you're comfortable in, run in what you're comfortable running in. And as you do some of the practice, you'll find that you'll want to go down yourself. And that's the best journey, is that feeling.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our runners will come in and they are already interested, by the way, in some of the stuff. And we encourage people, if you're doing practice in your house, you're not going outside running, people will even take their shoes off. And this is the thing, is get comfortable being in your feet. When you're comfortable in your feet, then you're way more comfortable in your run, and you'll decide, and you'll feel the difference in the shoe. But yeah, we 100%. The first thing people ask us is, what shoe should I get? And should I go straight to minimalist? And we always say, please do not. Please and ease in and allow yourself. It's just like the running. We're like, don't take your new run out on a long run. You need to go for feeling how it feels. It's the same with those shoes.
Well, that's a great point to end it on. I hope this helped you guys. If you have been having questions about shoes, it is probably our biggest question we have. You could search our podcast and probably find 3 or 4. I think I've even rebroadcast a couple of them. It is the most common question. And I think it's because obviously it is the biggest tool outside of our bodies, and we forget about our bodies, right? But we do understand, though, that this is a big question. So if you have additional questions, if there's something you want us to talk about on the podcast, some little thing that's been bugging you, maybe you've been trying what she's doing and you're like, this isn't quite working, what am I doing wrong? You can actually email support@runrx.fit and let us know it's a podcast question, and we will answer it on the podcast, because we would love to find out what's bugging you in your run and get that fixed for you. So we will talk to you next week, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRx podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.